Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Rock Stardust. Today we're going to dig into, I think, quite possibly the Stranglers' finest hour, and that is the Black and White album. Some consider it the first post-punk album. It's an incredible record. Here's my copy, which is pretty worn, but hey, the record plays great, so I'm happy. It's all good. But no, it's a terrific album. We'll dive straight into it. It was released in 1978. Following on from those first two seminal albums. But it is very special, and we are going to go through an interview with JJ Bennell from 2013 with the Ratter blog, which is out there. So I'll also put a link in the description to show you that. So I'll dive straight into it. By the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Really appreciate that. Give it a like if you like this sort of material. And we'll dive right into it. Cheers. As JJ shares his thoughts on this album, the mighty Black and White album. Starting off with Tank Hugh's lyrics with My Music, I Think. I can't remember much else about it. It's a hard one for Dave to play live, depending on where he is, through his bottle of cognac at the gig. The whole of the album was written at Beershank Lodge at Erndal, and it was a very snowy winter. Everyone else went away for Christmas, but I didn't because I had nowhere to go. I was left at Erndal by myself. Track 2, Nice and Sleazy was written about our experiences with the Amsterdam Hells Angels in the autumn of 77. One of the Finchley boys rode my Triumph over to Amsterdam, and I went with the band. The Amsterdam Angels treated us very well, too well. We ended up at their chapter house, which had been donated by the government to keep them out of town. After the Paradiso gig, I remember Jet going back to their clubhouse on the back of a Harley. I went with the president of the Angels in his huge American car, and we got stopped by the police. He gave me a large bag of white powder to look after while he got out of the car and went and pissed on the police car's front wheel. Classic. Back at their compound, we shot guns at a prison which was being built. Quite scary. Oh, really? Man. Next track, Outside Tokyo, was completely Hugh, even the waltz music. Normally all the waltzes were mine, but I don't recall writing the music. Next track, Sweden, All Quiet on the Eastern Front. Again, my music and Hugh's lyrics. We'd had a few set twos in Sweden by then with the Regari Swedish 50s influenced youth movement who drove old American cars and had already been escorted out of the country under armed guard for our own safety. Next track is Hey, Rise of the Robots. By then we'd heard Devo and we really thought they were onto something musically. I remember talking to Laura Logic from X-Ray Specs, who guested on sax on the track, and telling her to feel free to play whatever she wanted on it. We wanted that musical freedom that Devo had on this track. Next track is Hey, Toiler on the Sea. I was left to my own devices over that Christmas, and that's how Toiler came about. Toiler was one of my epic instrumental things. I had the whole piece, all the parts of it, and as the others were away, I actually started rehearsing it with Dennis from the Finchleys on drums. I remember going into the rehearsal studio there and trying to get him to play the drums on it. When Hugh got back after Christmas, he had a bit of a bad holiday. He'd gone with a Japanese girl to Morocco, and he added his very recent story to my music when we came back after the break. Okay, classic. So that's the white side. Okay, that's side one. We'll dig in now to the black side, and that starts off with Curfew. The lyrics are mine. We were going through a Cold War spell at the time, and it was just me imagining how it would be if the Russians actually made it through to the West. There was a general fear that the Cold War was going to escalate into an invasion. We'd gone to Germany and realized that at the time, Germany was completely enthralled with the Americans. They had lost their strength and had gone very pacifist. There are references to the American dream, so the song was imagining what would happen if it all kicked off. Musically, we thought we'd be clever as we added 1 5/1 bar into the song. Interesting. Next track, Threatened. Threatened was another of my lyrics with Hugh's music. One night I went out with some people and had opinions about everything. They were all too opinionated. I thought, if it doesn't threaten you, what's the point in having a fucking opinion about something? Basically, that was the idea behind the song. Cool. So, next track, Do You Wanna? My music and Hugh's lyrics and Dave's amazing vocals. I don't remember him explaining the meaning of the lyrics to me at the time. Definitely my riff though. And then we come to the awesome Death and Night and Blood, Yukio, which is one of my favourite tracks from the band and a real highlight on this album. Death and Night and Blood was completely me. The title comes from a quote from Yukio Mishima. He was full of contradictions. He was homosexual but was married with kids. He was a highly rated writer, but he wanted to make a statement with his body, which he did by becoming a bodybuilder and taking up karate and kendo. He was also slightly misogynistic and leaning towards the fascistic. Interesting, getting those ones out. He had his own private army, the Shield Society, which enabled him to get access to a general's office at army headquarters and to incite the Japanese self-defense force, as they weren't allowed to be called an army, into action. He barricaded himself in the office and then addressed the gathered troops, but his speech was drowned by the sound of helicopters and the soldiers jeering. He went back inside and committed suicide by harikari. Ooh. At the time, Julie Burchill and Tony Parsons wrote a book called The Boy Looked at Johnny, and in it they described me as a Nazi, homosexual thug. That's unfair. I'm not a thug. They were part of the socialist workers, and in their minds, if you weren't with them, you're a fascist. That was typical of them, really. And we know his thoughts on those particular journalists. Covered off that in the Tough Guys of Rock video. Next track, In the Shadows, started as a jam, which was originally twice as long as the finished version. It was a piece of improvisation, went on for about 12 or 15 minutes. I spent about 12 hours with Martin Rushent in the studio editing it down. I also wanted to add a club reggae style feel, so there were delays in cutting it in and out, added onto it. We actually improvised the lyrics, which were about paranoia and fear. We wanted it to sound like Captain Beefheart, which is why we sang in low voices. It was originally released as the B-side of No More Heroes and was a tastier for what was coming next. We felt it fitted the whole album concept of black and white, as it felt dark and late at night, so we included it on the album too. I liked it as it was something new, a real departure for us. That's interesting stuff. And to conclude the black side of the album, side 2, Enough Time. This was about the same paranoia about how we felt about the times that we were living in, the zeitgeist. In fact, the whole of black and white was quite paranoid. It was also fueled by the fact that we'd had all that success the year before, and we were now getting slated by the press. That fed into our general consciousness. It was us against the world. And it really was at that time, because they weren't very much outsiders from the press, the industry as a whole, and the other bands. The Stranglers were kind of their own animal, really, and didn't really get included in that system. So they had a bit of a chip on their shoulder about that. But it set them apart too, and they all started wearing black, and it's all coinciding around this period. Okay, so he continues. The Morse code solo at the end reads, SOS. This is planet Earth. We are fucked. Please advise. We thought we'd be clever and include more Morse code to send that message out. Interesting. Have to have another listen to that. We played it live on the tour at the time. but I'm not sure how I managed to do it. We tried rehearsing it for the Weekend in Black convention in 2011, but we just couldn't get it together. It's one of the very few things that I don't know how we originally constructed it. There you go. So that's really interesting stuff. And, what a memory JJ's got. So he did that in 2013. But he remembers all the details very clearly. And so I just wanted to share that. I'll include the link in the description so you can read it as well and check it out for yourself. It also includes some B-sides and extras as well there, which you can dig into. But I just wanted to get that out there so that, you get a bit more insight into the making of, the Black and White album, which is a sensational record. And like I said, could well be their finest hour. So, hey, if you do enjoy this material, please do give it a like, subscribe to the channel, join the community. It makes a big difference, and you'll get all the latest stuff coming out. And add your comments too. Please, that'd be great. Anyway, catch you next week. Have a great time. Keep on rocking.